Hi, I'm Pox.
And I'm Rankable.
And this is a Two Smart Guys show.
Live-ish.
Yeah,
we're brilliant time.
Yeah, we record live on Wednesday nights at
10:30-ish
Mountain Time, which is like, yeah.
Okay, so today we are covering how to set up a FreeNAS box.
Yes, a FreeNAS box. And like,
what is a NAS?
It's a network attached storage device.
And what the hell does that mean?
It means if you got like a laptop or several laptops, iPhones, other desktops, instead of copying your same movies to all the machines, you set them to a centralized storage device.
Centralized storage. It's essentially just like a couple hard drives hooked up to the network. The big bonus here is that they are in a rated configuration. For instance, you can do 0, 1, or 5. In our instance, we've done 1, which is a redundancy backup. So if one fails, you can still access your data and it still functions as normal, and then you can replace the hard drive. So let's get into what you need to actually build the FreeNAS box. So obviously, you need your case. In this instance, I have just a micro ATX case that promised me it had support for 2 full-sized hard drives, and that turned out to be a big fat lie. So when you buy your case, make sure it'll have enough space for your hard drives. And then secondly, make sure it is tall enough, okay? The thing here is that you'll be putting in either CF adapters or USB pin header adapters. And so it has to be tall enough to accommodate that. Okay, ready? And so you get your typical, motherboard, RAM, processor. In this instance, I have an Intel Atom motherboard chipset. There was one, it was about $60, and the only one cheaper than that was something called Jetway.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend personally going with anything that
sounds funky.
I mean, if you're planning on storing all your important stuff on this and you don't want it to go down often, I'd spend the extra couple bucks and get something reputable.
The other thing, too, is that, using the Intel motherboard, it made it more versatile, too, as far as a machine. So in case you don't want to use this as a FreeNAS or you repurpose it later on, it can be something else.
Right.
So you give it more life that way. So, and another note about hardware is make sure, absolutely, to the T, that what you have is compatible with FreeNAS. They have a hardware compatibility list on their website about integrated solutions like that and network driver support and all that. Make sure it works.
Yeah, we'll have a link to that on our show notes at twosmartguys.com.
Yes.
You can go to the show and you can see what we bought and links to the FreeNAS and all that for the downloads.
Yes. All right, let's keep on going.
All right.
So, assemble your box. Smoke something like I did here.
Yeah.
I'm going super fast.
I could do it twice as fast. I just need a little bit of caffeine, just a little bit.
Yeah. Hard drives, check. In addition to that, what we didn't cover there was getting your storage medium. It's a pain in the ass to partition your RAID array to hold the FreeNAS install. You're better off with going with either a CF card or a USB stick.
This is live, right? I can't pull it out.
Don't pull that out. Pretend there's a USB stick. Yeah. Okay. There's an issue with CF cards, though, is that if you go with a low-end CF card, they usually don't have DMA support. And the adapter card has to support DMA as well. And so if one of those doesn't support DMA, then you get into an issue of FreeNAS.
Raggable gets into this issue. Everybody else, just get a USB stick.
Yeah. So stick away from the CF cards because there's a DMA issue with.
But you can get a USB header pin that goes on the motherboard, so you can keep your flash stick
on the inside, so some toddler doesn't come by and yank your stick and you've just lost your config. Okay, so after you've got your hardware all assembled in a nice little pretty box, what you want to do next is actually download FreeNAS. And there's 2 options, a live CD or an image. In our case, we're going to be using the image file. The live CD, you can use that if you've got an external DVD drive, but it's just better to write it to the USB stick and then just plug it in and you're good to go. And then what you need to write that image file to a USB stick is a utility called Fizz Disk Write. Now, the note here is that it runs on Windows. I couldn't get DD to work on Mac or Linux to actually have a bootable USB stick. It could write it, but it wouldn't boot it.
There's other utilities to make it bootable, but
Yeah.
yeah.
The quickest and easiest one I found was FizzDisk Write. And there's a couple compatibility issues or notes about running it on certain OSs. XP works fine. Vista, you have to run the command prompt as an administrator, and you have to type in that god-awful command. Windows 7 supports it by default. Or, I mean, Windows 7 works like Windows XP. So you can just drag and drop it onto the program icon and select your disk. You want to make absolutely sure that you're writing to the right disk. Make sure you've unplugged all the other USB devices, and so it should just be your main system drive and then your USB stick. The big giveaway is the cylinder count. I mean, it's 62 there, so that's obviously the USB stick.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Or you're about to erase my media center PC.
One is usually a system drive. And you can always go into Windows device or disk management, and it'll list them in there as well.
Yeah.
Disk 0, disk 1, so you
Yeah.
can double check that way. So we're going to select number 1 in our instance, and it's going to double check to make sure we really want to do that. And I say, yes, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And it writes.
So be sure the USB stick you're going to use is for the sole purpose of running the FreeNAS box.
Yeah.
If you had any pictures on there, they're gone now.
All right. So you've got it written, plug it in, boot up, and it'll boot by default and get to the typical NAS screen. I mean, right now, essentially, FreeNAS is running. And it takes a while to go through the boot process.
Look at all that hardware.
And so after it boots, what you want to do is assign interfaces. Select one, push enter, and then you get a screen prompting you to configure your LAN interface. It should auto-detect because you made absolutely sure that your hardware device was supported. You click OK to continue, and you say no to the optional interface, and just click Finish and exit configuration. Yes, and then after that, it's been assigned, and you want to now set up an IP address. Type 2, push enter, and use DHCP, no for IP version 6. And it should get a DHCP address.
So yeah, your router should do the rest.
Yeah, if it works.
If it works. But you want to make note of the IP address that it assigns.
Yes, so you'll get the IP address listed after the screen in just a bit. And you want to write that down or make note of it.
But now you can log in your FreeNAS box.
Yes, so let's go ahead and pull that up in the interface. Default password, FreeNAS. And look at that. Now, if you're like me, you are paranoid. And the best thing paranoid people do is they change their password and their username right away. So we can change that right down here. I'm going to type in NASD admin.
I like just admin or root.
Never go with admin or root.
I like default. Default's cool.
Okay, and then we'll change the password by clicking on this password tab.
Now use password because nobody will ever think.
Nobody ever.
Nobody
uses
ever thinks
that.
a password.
And we'll type in a new password. 4 letters. Yeah, I'm really paranoid. And it's been changed. Okay, so now we are ready to set up our RAID 1. But before we can do that, we have to add the disks to FreeNAS to tell it, hey, you can manage this device. Do whatever you want with it.
All right, set our disks.
So we go up to the Disks tab, click on Management, and then click on this plus button over here. And then you'll get this nice little page, and in the disk drop-down box, you'll notice your hard drives. And within FreeBSD, the naming convention's a little different than what you see in Linux or Mac OS X. For instance, serial ATA devices are labeled AD, and then you can see the USB is starting with DA. So we'll select the first hard drive. You can give a description if you want. Make sure
Like you could say it's the top hard drive.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay.
Be good to figure that out, though. And change the pre-formatted file system to software RAID. add. And then we'll go ahead and add in the next hard drive. 86, second hard drive, formatted as a software RAID. Add that. And then within FreeNAS, whenever you make changes anywhere, you've got to click this Apply Changes button, which is no longer visible. Right there. Apply Changes. So the disks have been added. They're formatted for software RAID. And we can go ahead and create the RAID array. So click on Disks, go to RAID, and click here to add a RAID array. I can give it a name. I'll call this one Home Share.
Oh, but it looks so neat that way.
I can't read. You can mess around with the balance algorithm. I left it at the default of round robin. You can investigate into the wiki or into FreeNAS's web, Google, about what would be a more optimal algorithm for your usage scenario, if you're just streaming or just writing to it all the time, or if it's something for like a backup. Make sure you select your hard drives, and they just have a, like a list. And so you can command or control click it, or you can just shift or just drag over it to select the elements, put a check and create an initialize. Edit.
And now you have your rad RAID.
Now you have to apply changes.
Oh, okay. Apply the changes.
And then you have to go format it.
Oh, God.
It's just there. Now you have to go format it. So
it's still there.
Shut up. In this disk drop-down box, select Home Share. Leave the default at UFS. Don't change that. Give it a label, and we'll call this Home, I guess. Share. That's lame. Okay. Format disk. Yes. I really want to format it. And then you get this neat little list of it formatting all the inodes. Oh, people want to see pretty numbers. Look at all these pretty numbers. They're so pretty.
We gotta show that we're still here, that we haven't died from the gas fumes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay. Anyways, back to the numbers crunching.
Okay, number crunching, and it will eventually say done.
Woo!
You can ignore that warning. It's just saying use UFS.
Sold your soul to the devil.
So now we can go back and we mount it. And this is just giving it a place within the file system on the FreeNAS system. So we're going to go ahead and add that with the plus button, as usual. With the disk, we want the home share. Leave it as GPT partition, file system UFS, mount point name. We'll just call this home share mount. You can give it a description if you want. Some permissions and file system checks. If you're really, really super duper paranoid, you can mess with this crap, but I'm just leaving it at its default. Apply changes.
Yeah, you could set up like an adult section, or or one for those torrents and things.
Yeah. So it's now been created, formatted, and mounted, but now you have to set it so that you can share it. And you do that by setting up a service. And in this instance, we're going to set up the CIFS and SMB service. It's the lowest common denominator.
Yeah, because at this point it's just a box with drives on it. Now you got to have a way to get to them.
Yes, exactly. And since SMB is the default and a lot of platforms support that, we can just use that. Click the checkbox to enable it. And if you already have a work group set up, you can change these, but you leave them at the default if you want. Click Save and Restart. And now it's been enabled, and we're going to share that mount point. Click the plus. We'll call this home share again. Comment stuff for home. Yay. And then click the browse button, and it should show that mount, home share mount. And select it. Click OK. And you can go ahead and leave the other options enabled. Recycle bin, I assume that's for Windows. When you delete something from there, it'll send it to the recycle bin instead of deleting it permanently. But other than that, leave them at the default settings. Edit. And then once again, apply changes.
Is this thing ever going to finish?
Yes! 15 minutes isn't up yet. We're still alive.
Okay, just barely. We had people check in on us.
Okay. So now, actually, we're done.
Oh, we're done?
Yeah, it's shared on the network. So I could go over here and drag that out of the way and open up a Finder window. Type in the IP address, 168.1.112. Since we didn't set up permissions, we can just go ahead and connect as guest. And we have a lovely little FreeNAS share.
Ah, it's spazzing out.
And that's it. That's it. You just set up a FreeNAS box.
Yay! It's
Yay!
FreeNAS. So this is a fairly
Lengthy episode.
lengthy episode. No, I'm trying to say this is a lot. So you got your time capsule from Apple. That's probably just one of the things it's fairly comparable to.
There's other FreeNAS. There's consumer FreeNAS solutions.
But this one, you have a lot more options.
yes.
I mean, you can see all the details.
Yeah, I mean, it had a lot more services. It supports AFP, FTP, rsync, SSH, all that crap.
Yeah, so if you follow Raggable's tutorial, then it's a pretty basic share that anybody could set up.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly
Like
functional.
I said, it was an SMB share.
But if you want to
lowest
go,
common
all
denominator.
out, you can throw in like 7 or 8 hard drives in there, and you can set up all these different shares with different
Or if
permissions.
you just have an old PC laying around, you've got some spare hard drives.
Yeah, you can go to the dump and catch people that are throwing away P4s, and you can set one up with one of those too. That works.
That
great.
would work just fine.
Yeah. Well, you might have some hardware compatibility, but you can work that out if you get enough of them.
Yeah. So that's our FreeNAS episode.
Wow.
If you have any problems, go to FreeNAS's website. I'm sure if you dig deep enough, you'll find something. The documentation is a little lacking in some places, but community support more than makes up for that.
Yes.
I hope.
Yes, and we'll have links to all more.
To relevant information
Yes.
on our show notes, on
Yes,
our homepage, twosmartguys.com.
Yes, and also our forums at twosmartguys/forums. There'll be
twosmartguys.com/forum.
Yeah, /forum. We'll have more help available to you
Yes.
guys all. And if you want to help us out, we've got DVDs of past
Donate
shows.
us some money, we'll send you some DVDs.
Yeah, they got audio commentaries, behind scenes, bloopers.
Bloopers are fun.
We also got to pimp our new show.
Beyond the clipping plane.
Yes, we've got 2 guys lost in a video game world. It's fun.
Stuck, not lost. Well, stuck and lost.
I don't know. They're squashing Goombas and getting attacked by Marios.
It's a real experience
Yes,
for them.
it's a lot of.
But you can check that out at our homepage as well, twosmartguys.com. We try to feature it on Mevio.com, but we prefer you to watch it at our website.
Watch it wherever you want to. This is on Mevio too.
Oh, yeah!
Thank you,
My bad.
Mevio. We love you.
We do.
Okay, so anything else we forgot to pimp?
Do we have an ad to show or anything?
Yeah. Oh, stay tuned for this ad real quick from Zazzle.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Now you're entitled to print that opinion on a variety of products along with millions of other users at Zazzle.com. On your next order of $50 or more, you can save 10% with our code 2SmartGuys. Not only do you save money, but you help support our shows.
So you can save 10% on order of $50 or more with
When
code
you use our code.
2SmartGuys.
Yay!
Anyways, we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully you'll join us for a live show. Maybe things will go smoother.
Yes.
We won't get suffocated
Or have the show
smoked out.
constantly interrupted or
Yeah.
technical difficulties.
Yes.
You know what's going to happen next?
Wrath
Wrath of God.
The Wrath of God. All right, we're so Wednesdays at 10:30 Mountain Time.
Yes.
See
We
you
will
guys
be here.
next time.
See you guys there.
This has been a Two Smart Guys production.